The setup, the galactic combat arena on Vection Prime hummed with anticipation. 70,000 alien spectators filled the crystalline seats, their various forms creating a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes that would have been beautiful if not for the bloodthirst radiating from every single one of them. The arena floor, polished obsidian that reflected the harsh purple lighting, had seen countless battles. Today, it would witness something unprecedented. Maya Chen stood in the preparation chamber, her human frame looking impossibly small compared to the other fighters. At 5'6", with shoulder-length black hair tied back in a practical ponytail, she appeared almost delicate. The other contestants towered over her. There was Korvak the Destroyer, a 9-foot-tall reptilian beast with scales like armor plating and claws that could shred steel. Beside him lurked Thresh, an insectoid nightmare with 4 arms and mandibles that clicked menacingly. The Zephyrian warrior Nexus floated nearby, his gaseous form occasionally solidifying into spikes and blades. "Look at the little human," Korvak hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air with amusement. Did they bring her here as entertainment? Or perhaps as a snack? The other aliens chuckled, a sound that ranged from Thresh chittering to Nexus's whistling gas expulsion. Maya said nothing. She simply continued her stretching routine, methodically working through each muscle group with the precision of someone who had done this thousands of times before. "She cannot even hear us properly," Thresh clicked, his compound eyes reflecting Maya's image dozens of times over. Humans have such limited sensory capabilities. How did this species ever survive their home world? "Barely," Nexus wheezed, his form shifting from blue to red with what passed for laughter among his kind. "I studied their records. They spent most of their existence trying to kill each other. Primitive weapons, crude tactics, emotional decision-making. Really, it is quite sad." Maya finished her stretches and walked to the equipment wall. She selected a simple metal staff, about 4 feet long, weighing maybe 3 pounds. The aliens watched with growing amusement. "A stick?" Korvak roared with laughter. "The human chooses a stick? I have natural weapons that could cut through starship hulls, and she brings a stick to fight me. Perhaps she plans to dig her own grave with it," Thresh suggested, which sent the group into another fit of alien hilarity. Maya tested the staff's balance, gave it a few experimental spins, then nodded with satisfaction. She turned to face the others for the first time since entering the chamber. Her brown eyes were calm, almost serene, which somehow made the aliens even more amused. "You know," Maya said conversationally, her voice carrying easily through the chamber despite its quiet tone, "where I come from, we have a saying. Don't count your chickens before they hatch." "Chickens?" Nexus's form rippled with confusion. "What are chickens?" "Small, flightless birds. We used to raise them for food." Maya's smile was slight, but unmistakably present. "The point is, you should not assume victory before the battle begins." Korvak stepped closer, his massive form casting Maya in shadow. "Little human, I have won 317 arena battles. I have killed members of 47 different species. My claws have tasted the blood of champions from across the galaxy. What exactly have you done that makes you think you can threaten me?" Maya looked up at him, apparently unimpressed by his size or reputation. "I have been very, very patient." Before anyone could ask what that meant, the chamber doors hissed open. The arena announcer's voice boomed across the complex, translated into dozens of languages simultaneously. "Citizens of the galaxy, welcome to today's elimination tournament. 8 fighters enter. Only 1 leaves victorious. Today's prize is not just glory, but a full pardon for any past crimes and citizenship in the Vection Confederation." Maya raised an eyebrow at that last part. That was new information. The recruiter who had approached her on the prison transport had mentioned freedom, but not citizenship. Interesting. Our first match features a legendary Korvak the Destroyer against a mysterious human newcomer, Maya Chen. Place your bets now. Through the transparent walls of the preparation chamber, Maya could see the betting displays. The odds were not in her favor. Korvak was listed at 1 to 50. Maya was at 1 to 1,000. Someone was going to make a lot of money today. "Look at those odds, human," Korvak gloated. "Even the bookmakers know you're going to die horribly." Maya checked her staff one more time. Tell me something, Korvak, in all your research about humans, did anyone mention why Earth is classified as a death world? The reptilian warrior's confident expression flickered slightly. Your gravity is higher than most species prefer, and your weather patterns are unpredictable. So what? And the fauna? Primitive creatures. Nothing that could threaten a civilized being. Maya's smile widened just a fraction. Right. And I suppose no one mentioned that humans are actually one of the more dangerous species to evolve on that supposedly primitive planet. Dangerous? Thresh clicked mockingly. You have no natural weapons. No claws, no venomous bite, no armored hide. Your bones break easily. Your skin tears at the slightest provocation. You are walking meat. True, Maya agreed cheerfully. We are not built for individual combat the way you are. We are built for something much worse. Which is? Nexus demanded. Persistence hunting. Pack tactics. Tool use. Problem solving under pressure. Maya's voice remained conversational, but something in her tone made the other fighters unconsciously step back. See, most species evolved to be either predators or prey. Humans evolved to be both. We learned to think like prey to avoid the things that wanted to eat us, and we learned to think like predators to catch the things we wanted to eat. We became persistence hunters, which means we did not need to be faster or stronger than our prey. We just needed to be more patient. The arena doors began to open, flooding the chamber with the roar of the crowd and the harsh arena lighting. Time to go, warriors, the announcer boomed. Korvak the Destroyer versus Maya-chan the Human. As they walked toward the arena floor, Korvak leaned down toward Maya. Your species' history is irrelevant, little human. This is not a hunt on your primitive world. This is gladiatorial combat. Strength against strength. Claw against whatever that stick is supposed to be. Maya stepped onto the obsidian floor and immediately felt the heat radiating up from its surface. The crowd's roar was deafening, a wall of sound that pressed against her from all sides. 70,000 beings, representing dozens of species, all waiting to see her die. She looked around the arena, taking the smooth walls, the various viewing platforms, the betting displays still showing her laughable odds. Then she looked at Korvak, who was playing to the crowd, raising his arms and roaring, his claws extended to their full terrifying length. The referee, a floating sphere covered in sensors, positioned itself between them. This is a standard elimination match. Victory by death, incapacitation, or surrender. Are both fighters ready? Korvak slammed his fist into his chest with a sound like thunder, ready to feast. The crowd cheered their approval. Maya simply raised one hand. Begin! Korvak moved with shocking speed for something his size, closing the distance between them in less than a second. His claws whistled through the air where Maya's head had been a moment before. She had simply stepped aside, moving with economic precision. Stand still, little mouse. Korvak snarled, spinning to face her again. No thanks, Maya replied, evading another swipe with minimal effort. I am good right here. The crowd began to boo. This was not the quick, brutal spectacle they had paid to see. Maya was simply staying out of reach, not attacking, not showing any impressive acrobatics, just moving exactly far enough to avoid Korvak's strikes. Fight me? Korvak roared, frustration beginning to creep into his voice. I am fighting you, Maya said calmly, ducking under a horizontal swipe. You are just not very good at it. That comment sent Korvak into a fury. He began attacking faster, more wildly, his claws leaving gouges in the obsidian floor as Maya continued to slip away from every strike. The crowd's boos grew louder. What is she doing? An alien spectator shouted. This is boring. The human is a coward, another called out. Maya ignored them completely. Her attention was focused entirely on Korvak, studying his patterns, his timing, his weaknesses. The way his left shoulder dropped slightly before he committed to a strike. The way his breathing changed when he was about to charge. The slight hesitation in his step when he tried to change direction quickly. After 3 minutes of this, Korvak was breathing hard. His strikes were becoming slower, less precise. Maya looked exactly as fresh as when the match had started. Getting tired? She asked conversationally as she leaned away from another swipe. I will tear you apart." Korvak gasped, but there was less conviction in his voice now. "You know what the funny thing is?" Maya continued, still moving with that same effortless precision. "Everyone always assumes that because humans are not built for fighting, we must be bad at it. But here's the thing about being a persistence hunter. You learn to wait for exactly the right moment." Korvak charged again, this time putting everything he had into a devastating overhead strike that would have split Maya in half. Instead, it hit empty air as she sidestepped at the last possible second. The impact of his claws against the floor sent vibrations up his arms, and in that moment of overextension, Maya moved. The staff moved faster than the crowd could follow, striking 3 precise points on Korvak's extended arm. There was a series of sharp cracks, and suddenly the massive reptilian warrior was screaming, his arm hanging useless at his side. "Pressure points," Maya explained to the stunned crowd as Korvak stumbled backward, clutching his disabled arm. "Humans are very good at finding them." Korvak's eyes were wide with shock and pain. "What did you do to me?" "Temporary paralysis of your primary attack limb," Maya said, twirling her staff casually. "Do not worry. The feeling will come back in about an hour, assuming you live that long." The crowd had gone silent. This was not how these fights were supposed to go. The human had not just survived the opening exchange. She had completely turned the tables with a single, perfectly timed counterattack. Korvak tried to attack with his remaining good arm, but his balance was off, his confidence shattered. Maya continued her patient dance, now occasionally striking back. Each hit was precise, targeted, designed to disable rather than kill. Within another minute, Korvak was on his knees, both arms useless, his legs barely supporting his weight. "Yield," Maya suggested gently. "Never," Korvak snarled, though the effect was somewhat diminished by the way he was swaying. Maya sighed. "You know, where I come from, we have another saying. Pride goes before fall." She moved behind him in a blur of motion. The staff struck the base of his skull with surgical precision. Korvak toppled forward and lay still, breathing but unconscious. The arena was dead silent for a long moment. Then the referee's mechanical voice cut through the quiet. "Victor, Maya Chen, the human." The crowd exploded, not in celebration, but in shock and outrage. Bets had been lost. Expectations had been shattered. The human had not just won, she had made it look easy. Maya walked off the arena floor without acknowledging the crowd's reaction. She had more fights to win, and patience was only one of the tools in her arsenal. The other fighters waiting in the preparation chamber were about to learn what else humans had brought with them to the stars. The revolution would be quiet, efficient, and absolutely devastating, just the way humans preferred it. The revelation. The preparation chamber felt different when Maya returned. The casual mockery had evaporated, replaced by wary silence. Thresh's compound eyes tracked her every movement, while Nexus's gaseous form shifted nervously between colors. The remaining fighters suddenly found their weapons very interesting to examine. Maya settled into the same corner she had occupied before, pulling out a small energy bar from her pocket. She unwrapped it methodically and took a bite, chewing thoughtfully while the others watched. "So," she said conversationally, "anyone else want to share their opinions about human combat capabilities?" The silence stretched uncomfortably. Finally, Nexus's form solidified enough to approximate speech. That was unexpected. "Was it?" Maya finished her energy bar and crumpled the wrapper. "See, that is exactly the problem with galactic intelligence gathering. You study our history, our biology, our technology, but you never bother to understand context." Thresh's mandibles clicked nervously. "What do you mean?" Maya stood and began her stretching routine again, apparently unconcerned with the deadly opponents surrounding her. Take Korvak, for example. 317 victories. Very impressive. But those were all against other arena fighters. Professional gladiators who follow rules, fight honorably, telegraph their moves. She paused in her stretches to look directly at each of them. "I spent 12 years in actual combat. Not sport combat. Not exhibition fighting. War. The kind where the only rule is survival, and the only honor is in bringing your friends home alive." "What war?" Nexus asked, his curiosity overcoming his caution. Maya's expression darkened slightly. The Kepler Rebellion. Though I suppose your history books call it something else. The Galactic Council's records probably list it as a minor civil disturbance that was quickly contained. The mood in the chamber shifted again. Even these hardened fighters had heard whispers of Kepler, the human colony that had dared to resist galactic authority, the system that had gone dark for 3 years before communication was restored and the rebellion was declared over. "You were there?" Thresh whispered. "I was the last one out." Maya's voice carried a weight that made the aliens unconsciously step back. 17 years old when it started, 29 when it ended. 12 years of learning every possible way to kill someone who is bigger, stronger, and better armed than you are. The chamber doors hissed open again, interrupting the tension. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena. Next match. The insectoid terror Thresh versus Maya-chan the human. As they walked toward the arena, Thresh's multiple arms twitched nervously. The rebellion was crushed. Everyone knows this. Was it? Maya asked mildly. Then why am I here? Before Thresh could ask what she meant, they emerged into the arena. The crowd's reception was markedly different this time. Instead of dismissive laughter, there was an electric tension in the air. The betting display still showed Maya as an underdog, but the odds had shifted dramatically. She was now at 1-3. Maya noticed something else. In the VIP section, where the wealthy and powerful sat in climate-controlled comfort, several figures were leaning forward with intense interest. She recognized the uniform of Galactic Council security, the insignia of various military commands, and other symbols that suggested today's tournament had attracted some very important attention. The referee took position between them. Standard elimination rules. Victory by death, incapacitation, or surrender. Fighters ready. Thresh's 4 arms each selected a different weapon from his natural arsenal. Razor-sharp mandibles, acid-spitting glands, barbed stingers, and crushing claws. His compound eyes tracked Maya's every micro-movement. Maya simply picked up her staff again. Begin! This time, Maya did not wait for her opponent to attack. She moved forward with fluid precision, the staff spinning in her hands like a living thing. Thresh, expecting another defensive display, was caught completely off guard by the sudden aggression. The staff struck his leftmost arm, numbing it instantly. Before he could react, it had rebounded off the arena wall and caught his right mandible, snapping it cleanly. Maya flowed around his counterattack, like water, the staff never stopping its deadly dance. Impossible. Thresh chittered, spraying acid wildly as he tried to track her movement. Humans are slow, clumsy. That is what we wanted you to think, Maya replied, the staff catching him across the back of his head. Rule 1 of asymmetric warfare. Let your enemy underestimate you until it is too late. Thresh collapsed, his nervous system overloaded by the precise strikes to his neural clusters. The entire fight had lasted exactly 3 seconds. The crowd erupted, but this time with excitement rather than shock. They were beginning to understand they were witnessing something unprecedented. In the VIP section, several officials were speaking rapidly into communication devices. Maya walked off the arena floor without celebration, but this time she paused at the viewing wall. Her eyes found the VIP section, and she offered a small wave to the Galactic Council security officers. Their response was immediate and telling. They began barking orders to subordinates and reaching for weapons. In the preparation chamber, the remaining fighters were no longer hiding their fear. When Maya entered, they pressed themselves against the far wall. "Where you?" Nexus demanded, his gaseous form flickering between solid and transparent. Maya settled back into her corner, but this time she did not close her eyes to rest. She kept her gaze fixed on the viewing wall that looked out into the arena. "I am exactly what your intelligence report said I was. A human female, age 31, former colonial militia, convicted of sedition and sentenced to life imprisonment." "That is not what I meant." "I know what you meant." Maya's smile was sharp as a blade. "You want to know why I am really here? Why a human with my background would volunteer for a tournament where the prize is citizenship in the same government she spent 12 years fighting?" The chamber fell silent, except for the distant roar of the crowd, as other matches continued. The thing about humans, Maya continued, is that we are very good at long-term planning. We think in terms of generations, not just individual lifespans. When the Kepler rebellion was crushed, the survivors did not just give up. We scattered. We planned. We waited. Waited for what? One of the remaining fighters whispered. For this. Maya gestured toward the arena, for a chance to get close to the people who matter. Do you know who is watching this tournament? Through the viewing wall, they could see the VIP section more clearly now. Military uniforms, government officials, wealthy merchants, all the people who kept the galactic power structure functioning. They come to these events for entertainment, Maya explained. They feel safe here, protected, surrounded by their guards and their technology and their absolute certainty that nothing can threaten them in their little bubble of privilege. The chamber doors open again. Final match. Maya Chen versus the winner of the semi-final bout. Maya stood, but instead of heading toward the arena, she walked to the equipment wall. This time, she did not select a weapon. Instead, she picked up what looked like a small communication device. What is that? Nexus asked. Maya's smile was genuinely warm now, almost proud. This is a quantum transmitter. Military grade, undetectable by standard security sweeps, with enough range to reach every human settlement in this sector of the galaxy. Understanding dawned on the aliens' faces, followed immediately by terror. You are not here to win the tournament, Nexus breathed. Oh, I am going to win, Maya assured him, but not for citizenship. See, this tournament is broadcast live to every world in the Galactic Council. Billions of beings watching. Perfect amplification for a message. She activated the transmitter with a soft beep. Somewhere in the galaxy, other devices just like it were receiving her signal and preparing to relay it across the human underground network. The message being? Thresh asked weakly. Maya headed for the arena entrance. That the Kepler rebellion never ended. We just got better at it. She emerged into the arena to face her final opponent, but her attention was not on the towering alien warrior waiting for her. Instead, she looked directly into the main broadcast camera and spoke in a voice that carried clearly across the arena's sound system. Citizens of the galaxy, my name is Maya Chen, last survivor of the Kepler Defense Force. For 12 years, you have been told that human resistance to galactic authority was crushed, that our colony submitted peacefully to council rule, that the human spirit was broken. In the VIP section, security forces were mobilizing rapidly, but they were too late. Maya's words were already racing across the galaxy at light speed. This was a lie. Maya's voice remained calm, conversational, but it carried the weight of absolute conviction. We are still here. We are still fighting. And we are no longer alone. The arena erupted in chaos as the implications of her words sank in. In the VIP section, officials were screaming orders, trying to cut the broadcast feed, but the arena's automated systems were not designed for this kind of emergency. Maya's final opponent, a massive crystalline being called Shard, attacked in desperation. Perhaps he thought that stopping her would somehow stop the message. It was a futile hope. Maya moved like liquid lightning, her staff finding the exact resonant frequency needed to shatter crystalline structure. Shar exploded into 1,000,000 glittering fragments in less than 2 seconds, his defeat so swift and brutal that even the panicking crowd fell silent. To every human watching this broadcast, Maya continued, stepping over the remains of her opponent, the signal you have been waiting for is now active. Operation Lazarus's Go. To our galactic neighbors who have shown us kindness, you have nothing to fear from us. To those who have profited from our suffering. She paused, her eyes finding the cameras again. We remember everything. We forget nothing. And we are very, very patient. Security forces finally breached the arena floor, but Maya made no attempt to resist. She allowed herself to be surrounded, her hands raised in apparent surrender. But her smile suggested this was all part of the plan. As the guards approached, small explosions began erupting throughout the arena. Not enough to hurt anyone, but enough to cause mass panic. Emergency systems activated. Blast doors slammed shut, and the carefully ordered world of galactic elite descended into chaos. You see, Maya said to security chief, who was pointing a weapon at her. Humans learned something very important during the rebellion. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to make your enemy defeat themselves. In the VIP section, officials were receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human settlements that had been quiet for years were suddenly active. Ships were moving. Communications networks were lighting up. Weapons caches that intelligence services had never detected were being opened. The Kepler Rebellion had not ended 12 years ago. It had simply evolved, grown smarter, more patient. And now, broadcast live to the entire galaxy, it had announced its return. Maya Chen, the human girl who had been dismissed as entertainment, had just declared war on the galactic establishment. And as security forces finally reached her, she was still smiling. "Thank you for the platform," she said politely as they placed her in restraints. "This has been very educational." The tournament was over. Maya had won, though not in the way anyone had expected. As she was led away, her words continued to echo across the galaxy, reaching every human ear, igniting every human heart. The revolution would not be televised, because it already had been, live and in living color, broadcast to every world that mattered. The girl with the stick had just changed everything, and the galaxy would never be the same.